So, Collaborate and Learn Part 6. If you've seen the other installments, you'll have seen what's been happening so far. This is a collaboration with Steve Reed, aka Blackwax, and he provided the beat. We've gone through a couple of different stages up until now in terms of where we're going musically. I took it off on a little bit more of a kind of tangent, so I'm hoping that I'm back on where the track should be. So musical elements were scrapped on the last part, and I've got some new elements that I really think are working nicely, certainly taking into account the stuff that Steve and I discussed last time. Okay, so we're after something a bit more kind of futuristic, a bit more stabby, and I've got some elements on the go here. Now, for speed, I decided to use some samples. Okay, now, you know, you guys have been following this, you'll realize that I don't have lots and lots of spare time to dedicate to this, you know, because I've got a very active career at the moment, my music production outside of my day job. So, you know, what I need to do is with these sessions is to try to find a streamlined way to get stuff down. And it means that I'm not going to be able to do stuff in real time in front of your eyes. You know, I'm going to have to prepare stuff, do some, you know, work until I find something that works, because it's just going to take up so much time editing and, you know, all this kind of business. So it's a shame you can't see it all happening in real time, but you are going to see the steps that are happening and other bits of advice that I'll be able to give, you know, Steve and also anybody else who's watching. So what I wanted to do here was to get this stabby kind of flavor going on. So let me show you I'll play this, what I've got. Yeah, so if you've seen the previous videos, you would have seen what's been going on. So I'm going to play from here. So this bass, I'm going to need to repeat that, but you're hearing the stab coming in now. And then the bass line. Another chord stab coming in. This is being filtered. So you can see the modulation information here. So that's what I've done, and I don't want to go too far musically before getting Steve's approval on this, or maybe for him to contribute some new stuff. So the elements, let's come back. So you can see there's a bass line. Now, I worked on Steve's bass sound. Now, Steve, you had this set up originally. I was trying to work out what it was you're trying to do. The fine tuning was detuned on your triangle. I couldn't even hear the actual triangle coming through. I mean, you can see here at the moment the volume is down, and you had it up maximum. You also had like a bandpass filter on before, so it felt to me as if you're kind of shutting out elements of the sound. So what I've done is I've stripped that off. You can see it's just on the low pass here, but with the filter cut off open, so it's a nice clean bass sound. I also introduced the sustain on the amp envelope, which wasn't there before. So that's meaning that I can have a different note duration. So if we take a look at your original bass, that was 3 short notes. I extended that, and because we've got the sustain level at maximum, that means we're going to feel that energy of the sound coming through, whereas before we wouldn't have done. And on the bass line here, you can see what I've got is different lanes at the moment. So I've got different patterns. So we've got the extended notes over here on this second lane. So there are other notes that wouldn't have worked with your previous bass sound. So I've just stripped it back. It's just literally a sine wave now. So you can see that on the first oscillator here. So pure sine, nice straightforward amplifier envelope on there. So let me just show you that. Let's play that. So you're going to hear the second bit coming in here, that lower note. Just wanted to have a little interesting little progression going on there. Going to bring the kick on. So at the moment I haven't got my best headphones on, just got little kind of earbuds. So I can't tell for sure exactly how good that's sounding, but when I was working on it, I had my better headphones and it was sounding pretty good. So, yeah, I haven't mixed this properly just yet, but I think that's all sitting quite nicely. So that's the bass line, and before it was just these kind of little staccato notes. I think that's going to work as a great intro to when this sort of stuff picks up. So that's that. Now the short stab. Let's open this up. Here we go. Sorry, let me just come back on here. Now, what this is actually the Groove Agent 1. Now, those of you who use Cubase, you'll know that it doesn't come with a sampler. Okay, so this is the closest thing we can get to it, using the Groove Agent 1, even though it's designed for drums, dropping in a chord sample. So this chord sample was something that I found. It's actually a loop, but I just took a little bit of it and stabbed it, and you can see here the start point. It was over here at the very beginning. Now this is from a collection, and if we go to the sound browser, you'll see the collection that I was exploring. I was just going through. It wasn't this one, I think it was this here. There's a whole bunch of stabs here. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Yeah, I think it was that one. So this is a collection that I used. I thought this was quite an inspiring collection. It's actually free ones, so they're worth checking out. So you can see here this Sounds to Sample Deep House Bundle free pack. It may still be available for free, so I'll use that for some inspiration. So I got that sound, and then there's also this other one here. So you see that one rising up? That's this one here. You can see the cutoff opening, which is adding that warmth. Sorry, taking away, in a way, the warmth. So it starts off warm, no highs. Gradually the highs start coming back. It sounds more aggressive as time goes on. So that's working nicely as a transition. I added some blocks. These are from the Groove Agent 1 percussion kit. 808 beats. This is another Groove Agent kit from what I remember. Yeah, the analog hip hop kit. So it's like an 808 start. And also, yeah, this flute was a sample from a free library as well. So I'm going to include that for you, Steve. Steve, you can pick up on that, see if you like it. I wanted to have like a transition that wasn't things like crashes and splashes. So the flute is creating a transition to lift you into the next section when those beats come on. So that's something that could be used again. And that was a sample that I changed the start point of, and I've just placed it in as an audio file there. For you Cubase users, it's really funny actually. I've seen people like placing things like this in the actual project window, and like things like drum sounds, individual things like kicks, snares and hats, and then having to sort of drag them around. You've got loads and loads of audio events all over the screen. For me, that's like really messy, you know. If I was going to do something like this, and if I wanted to repeat this again, this is the sort of thing that I would do. So I'm going to just zoom out, bring this over. So when you're structuring, you think, okay, I might want this flute to occur at certain positions. So that if I double click here, you can see it's shaded behind. So that was creating a part between the left and the right locators. That's what happens when you double click in the space. Push number 4 to get to the glue tool, and you can see now that that's glued. So that means that very simply and easily, if I wanted that to be exactly the same position relative to the bar, you know, the whole kind of structure for 8 bars, then this is a great way to do it. I can just do duplicate and it's there again. I probably wouldn't necessarily say it should go there or even necessarily here, but I just know it's going to be the same place next time without having to sort of pick it up and drag it around. So it's like a nice kind of building block for arranging. So that approach can help for some people. So that's what's going on with that. And just want to think about what else I did. Yeah, I did a little bit of stuff on the master fader here because I wanted to just make it sound quite lively. I've got a compressor working here at the top, very shallow ratio. The attack is 28.5 milliseconds. I took the analysis to RMS. Just a nice kind of smooth, bouncy kind of flavor to it. I didn't want to be squashing it too much. The Studio EQ, just a couple of dips here that I thought worked quite nicely. And then finally the limiter here. So let me show you how that sounds without that. So here we go. Let's come back. Where are we? Yeah, let's see here. So that's without the master processing, and then with it on. It's looping back on itself at the moment. Just going to turn that cycle off. So no processing. And then, so there we go. So Steve, if you could let me know what you're thinking about that. I feel this track could do with some little kind of vocal stabs here and there, some atmospheric textures, but I definitely feel the vibe is much more along the lines of where it should be going. So if you want to just get back to me, I'll tell you what, we'll probably do a Skype call or something about it, and then we can try and get this really start taking shape. Okay.